Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to present. Today I am presenting as an independent researcher, exploring carnival festivities, specifically Jouvay and the Hindu festival of Shivraatri. For this presentation, I investigate the relationship between Indo and Afro-Caribbean cosmologies by comparatively discussing the histories, rituals, and festival space, including my visual art representations of the co-imaginations of Carnival and Shivraatri. Carnival serves as a significant arena for the ceremonial exploration of cultural identity, leaving a profound impact on the self-awareness through community involvement. Both Carnival and Shivraatri are night celebrations, inclusive of music, dance, and libations continued well into the morning. Soca music is notably incorporated in both festivals. Elucidated by Ras Shorty-Eye as a Dougla rhythm, this genre originated in the early 1970s in Trinidad and Tobago when he started blending East Indian and African rhythms, infusing elements of the dholak into calypso. Marshall Montano, an Afro-Caribbean performer and prominent soca artist, embraces Hinduism and applies it in his music. Described by the Prime Minister of Jamaica, the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, as an ambassador for the Caribbean music and people, in 2023 he was awarded the keys to the city of Kingston. Montano performed at the 2022 Shivraatri celebrations at the Isha Yoga Center in India, which hosted 120 million people in person and online. He recounts the experience as one of the most profound moments of his life, even after 40 years in the music industry, acknowledging its representation on a global level and as one deeply connected to his own spiritual journey. Local discussions often separate the festivals into the sacred and the profane. The Isha Yoga Center and Ramjit Basut Prasad Hindu Temple in Trinidad, where Wasafoli African drummers performed in Shivraatri 2023, challenges this notion. Soca has shaped perceptions of nationalism, nurtured regional connections, and promoted the development of Caribbean culture. Participating in the global market through India stimulates a range of questions about Caribbean cultural identity, cultural sector development, and Caribbean society in itself. Trinidad and Tobago is a land rich of cultural diversity with a complex history. The sugar industry was instrumental in shaping our nation socially, politically, and culturally. Today, the demographic landscape of the country is primarily characterized by two major groups of almost equal proportions. The descendants of enslaved Africans, 35.4%, and East Indians, 34.2%. 18.2% of the population identify as Hindu, according to the 2011 census produced by the Central Statistical Office of Trinidad and Tobago. To fully grasp the essence of Carnival, it is crucial to view it through a lens shaped by the survival strategies and instincts of the Caribbean people in their diversity. The first celebration of emancipation was on August 1, 1838. In 1927, it was proclaimed Columbus or Discovery Day by colonial authorities. This change placed restrictions on masking practices and compelled formerly enslaved people to blend into the pre-Lenten Roman Catholic Carnival. However, after much resistance, on the 150th anniversary of the Proclamation of Emancipation in 1984, Trinidad and Tobago became the first country to declare August 1st as Emancipation Day holiday. Of particular interest is the island's Jouvay traditions, stemming from the French Jouvay, meaning daybreak or morning, signaling the commencement of Carnival. The festival commemorates the grotesque and macabre, emphasizing the significance of terror in achieving emancipation and freedom. It is a syncretic carnival that has liberated itself from the constraints of its oppressive origins. Historically, a Trinidadian element of Jouvay is the carrying of flaming torches or canne brûlée. a remembrance of both burning the sugarcane before harvest and slave revolts. In the Yoruba language, however, Kambule translates to procession. Jouvay, the ritual of the sunrise, is marked by the pre-dawn offering of paint, powder, mud, and molasses, adorning and masking the bodies of its participants. Darkness, much like masks, offer a shroud of protection and impunity for delving into the intricacies of good and evil, the human condition, and the cost of pursuing and achieving freedom. The anti-clockwise path of the masqueraders are deeply rooted in the wisdom of the Bokongo cosmogram, delineating the sun and its various phases, its absence, emergence, zenith, and descent. Jouvay is a depository of culture, history, and memory celebrated on the Monday before Ash Wednesday and acknowledged across the diaspora from London to New York. In Trinidad and Tobago, it frequently aligns with Shivraatri, which is determined by the Hindu calendar and celebrated on the 13th lunar night during the dark half of the month of Phalguna each year. Shivraatri, or the Night of Shiva, as described in the Puranas, is a procession of ghosts and ghouls following Shiva as he embarks on a journey to wed Parvati against her father's wishes. Worshippers, regardless of social caste or sect, commune for song, dance, and libations of milk, honey, and cane juice, which bathe Shiva lingers. The observance of Shivraatri enables devotees to pursue moksha, igniting a spiritual journey towards liberation. This path entails self-discovery and community integration. Shiva, god of dance and destruction, is believed to remove the illusions and the imperfections of this world, paving the way for beneficial change. Shiva is often depicted covered in ash, serving as a reminder that all material existence is impermanent. Cosmology profoundly influences our perception of history, the present and the future. Delving into the roots and importance of Carnival can inspire fresh approaches to commemorating it in contemporary celebrations. The transformative ceremonies of Indian and Afro-Caribbean theater, akin to playing a mass in Caribbean carnivals, wield a profound influence on both individuals and the community, molding collective identities and cultural expressions. My personal connection to this paper stems from my childhood memories as an observer of both festivals. I attended a Hindu school where I was taught about Hindu festivals, but my family did not practice or share those beliefs. However, I lived just a few lots away from a temple where I would hear drums beating during Shivraatri celebrations lasting through the night and into the morning. I have a vivid memory of one Jouvay morning gazing from the gallery as a troop of blue devils made their way past the temple en route to the town of Sangre Grande, while the temple's rhythmic drumming filled the air. As I grew older, I began experiencing Carnival and Jouvay celebrations on a music truck several degrees removed from the masqueraders. It was a family tradition to accompany my father, who supplied music trucks and sound systems for the rural coastal village of Grand Riviere. The central theme of this exploration delves into festivals as reflections of nationhood and the power of co-imagination, a theme substantiated by insightful recollections from 5 in-depth interviews with cultural practitioners in Trinidad and Tobago. As part of a qualitative methodology, semi-structured in-depth interviews were conducted in person and on telephone during August 2023. All interviews were transcribed and written closely in the language of the speakers. The renowned Rapso trio, Tricanal, who annually host their own Jouvay celebrations, shared a compelling narrative of how they have evolved Jouvay celebrations to express nationhood. They recall their first street Jouvay celebration, each marked by the colors of the national flag of Trinidad and Tobago. In their interpretation, white to symbolize the virginity and newness of the carnival space, red representing fire, passion, and sacrifice, and finally, black and back with a vengeance, signifying a return to their authentic selves. Festivals offer a set of rituals that have the power to unite us, transcending boundaries of race, color, creed, and physical space. An illustrated example comes from Marge Blackman, the daughter of the late Shivraatri, as she shares a deeply personal practice instilled in her by her father. The act of removing her shoes before taking the stage. Performing at the Isha Yoga Center for 2022 Shivraatri celebrations alongside Marshall Montana, Miss Blackman recounts the profound nostalgia and comfort she felt while carrying out this tradition so far away from her home, as it brought her a sense of belonging and a connection to her roots. While some Hindus and Indo-Trinidadians have distanced themselves or felt excluded from Carnival, their valuable contributions are at risk of being culturally excluded with a narrow lens on the diverse practices of Carnival and mass making. Shade Budlal, a practitioner of Odissi, an Indian classical dance style, shared her disappointment regarding her involvement in an upcoming Carnival production hosted by the Ministry of Culture and Tourism. She recounted her experiences with portraying the Carnival character of the Borikit, a mask that involves wearing a costume featuring a donkey's likeness, a nod to Venezuelan settlers' influence. The Borikit differs significantly from the Indo-inspired traditional mask of the Sumari, that depicts a version of Durga on a horse, delivering a warning of an impending war. These characters not only hail from different ethnic groups, but also exhibit distinct characteristics, with the Borikit being fun and carefree, while the Sumari embodies a reserved and regal demeanor. Beyond the aforementioned, very little has been recorded about the Sumari, a testament to gatekeeping and the resulting cultural erasure. She would have preferred her performance, which segues into the Odissi dance, incorporate the more relatable character of the Sumari. The decision to instead play the Borikit was aimed at avoiding misinterpretation or misrepresentation that could potentially offend a religious group. In light of these dynamics, it becomes evident that the innovation stemming from co-imagination is necessary. It underscores how religion evolves to adapt to its time and place through applied practices within a particular space. Drummer Xavier Phillips from the Wasofoli group that performed at the Shivraatri celebrations at the Ramjit and Basu Hindu temple noted that this was not the first time the group had collaborated with religious festivals dominated by the Indo-Trinidadian community. They were accustomed to participating in Islamic Husay celebrations alongside Tassa groups, where they shared rhythms and translated Tassa beats onto African drums, creating harmonious and innovative rhythms representative of the cultural space. Conversations with traditional and religious practitioners within the Afro and Indo-Trinidadian communities, particularly those of the Orisha faiths and Hindu faiths, reveal a long-standing tradition of acceptance and participation in Carnival. Pandit Ravi Ji, for instance, discussed his personal involvement during his teenage years in the early 1960s. He engaged in various carnival activities, including Old Mass, Limbo, and exuberant dancing to the song Soca Baptist. His participation was supported by his father, who encouraged his involvement while also cautioning him to avoid getting caught up in the occasional acts of violence that occurred between rival pan groups. He is a cultural ambassador for co-imagination. Earlier this month, he hosted the second installation of Picture Patch, an event including members of indigenous, Ifa, and Orisha faiths, in a religious observance that commemorates the ancestors. This study preserves the voices of practitioners in key cultural traditions. It is important to expand the Caribbean cultural understanding of selfhood and community. As an artist, my aspiration is to move beyond mere tolerance towards fostering acceptance. In my creative work, I explore themes of embrace, freedom, voice, and the power of community participation. My art seeks to build a bridge between truth and beauty by representing livelihoods, natural environments, and human dignity. In conclusion, ritual and festival traditions must be inclusive of the multiple, intersecting, and dynamic ethno-cultural imaginaries in the society. We should not view these modes of celebration as polar opposites. Instead, both can be seen on the same continuum of humanity, striving for self-realization through different channels. Shivraatri and Carnival coexist without encroaching on each other, offering a unique space for people, promoting preservation, cultural co-imagination, and innovation. Thank you.